all have those moments where our emotion gets the best of us. We all have those moments where you feel like, whether it's at school or whether it's at work, whether it's at home, that you have those conversations that you feel like that it's the end of you. You are about to blow up. On today's video, guys, I want to talk to you guys about emotional intelligence, how to improve, how to be aware of your emotional intelligence to improve better communication skills. So guys, I told you guys I'll be talking to you guys about things that I've gone through or things that I'm experiencing in my day-to-day life. This is something that I'm actually going to take in consideration, especially this February, this whole new month. I'm going to work on my emotional intelligence. I felt like I was good. I felt like I didn't need to work on it or all that. But since I'm staying home with my family, oh guys, I'm getting a few triggers and I'm like, oh my god. And I'm like, okay, we are having conversations here and there, and I'm realizing that I actually need to work more on my emotional intelligence. And I was like, you know what, I feel like this is a topic that I want to discuss with you guys. This is a topic that I want to share out there. And yes, so that we can all learn together, we can all grow together, because we say this 2025 is all about growth and glowing. So without further ado, welcome and welcome back. If it's your first time here, welcome guys. So emotional intelligence is generally being aware of your own emotions and being aware of other people's emotions, being empathetic. You know, when you say being, you someone that has empathy, is feeling for others. You are able to feel for others, to put yourself in other people's shoe, and also view things from their side and not only from your side. On this video, guys, I'll be giving you some of the techniques that I am using and some of the techniques that I found useful. The first technique that I found is useful is saying I need. The phrase I need. Every time you're having a conversation with someone, especially when you want to be emotional intelligence, it's saying I need. Make sure that you refrain from saying you. Acknowledge that what you need. For example, you can say, well, for example, in a heated argument, you can be saying, I need a moment, I need a break, I've realized that I need to step away from this conversation right now. That makes you emotional intelligent, because you are aware of your own emotions, you are aware of your own feelings. So the first phrase is using the I need. The I need makes even if you're having a conversation with someone, the I need pushes the attention from the other person to you as an individual, and even now the conversation, even if it's an argument, there won't be an argument, because the person sees that you're actually acknowledging that I'm not doing this for you, I'm not doing this because of this of the argument, I'm doing this because of myself. So you say, learn to use the phrase I need. Like, for example, if you're in an argument, I've said use the phrase I need a moment, I need a break, I need to step away from this conversation right now. So that's one technique that you can use that can help you boost your emotional intelligence. Remember, your emotional intelligence is about you and other people, the social skills in better communication. The second thing that I learned is the second thing that you need to learn in emotional intelligence is what triggers you. What triggers you need to teach you. For example, you need to know what triggers you. For instance, if you are constantly having an argument with the same person, if you're constantly having an argument with the same people at work because of certain things, get to learn what triggers you. And that's it. And it says what triggers you teaches you. For instance, if you are at constant maybe or argument or disagreement with your parent or with your sibling or with a co-worker at work, get to know why do the conversation be a trigger to me, for you to react the way that you are reacting in the sense of an argument. Why is the conversation turning into an argument? So what triggers you teaches you. For instance, you can get to learn that I'm actually bothered by this coworker because they remind me of my parents, because they remind me of the ABCD, because of maybe of my OCD. Now that for example, I'll be like, maybe I'm triggered by my sibling or by my brother or by my whoever because of my OCD, because I'm like, why are they removing this cup from A to B? So that will actually help you know that you are actually not having the issue with the person, in your mind that you think at the heat of the moment you think that you are, what is actually happening is there's something deeper than that. And you taking away from the fact of, for instance, when they at the heat of the moment, and you taking attention from what triggers me and turning it to what teaches me, it will make you take a moment back when you're in that even argument and be like, okay, why am I responding the way I'm responding? Why has it been a trigger to me that makes me yell, that makes me get angry? What is it that has actually happened, that has actually caused me to be this mad? So make sure that every time that you're having a conversation, that you feel like there's a disagreement, turn that disagreement into a learning moment. Turn that disagreement into taking a step back and be like, what triggers me teaches me. So sit back. You don't have now to start when you're at the heat of the moment. You're like, sit back. What triggers me teaches me. No, at the back of your mind, when you're just silent, maybe you can just take 5 seconds and be like, what triggers me teaches me. What is triggering me at this conversation? For instance, if you're in a relationship, what is triggering me in this situation? Is it the fact that there are more underlying issues? Is it the fact that I'm actually not choosing, he's not choosing pink, he's choosing blue? What is the trigger behind it? Is it that I always need to be in control? That will help you learn more about yourself, self-awareness. You cannot have emotional intelligence if you're not self-aware. You need to be aware of yourself. That's what I'm saying. What triggers you teaches you. Guys, repeat. What triggers me teaches me. You know, that's what we say in emotional intelligence. You have to have self-awareness in it. You have to know, okay, why am I the way I am? Why is that my trigger? Why is this person a trigger to me? So you will get to know, okay, like, so for example, if I just throw a name out there, for example, Sam is a trigger to me because he reminds me of my dad and I have daddy issues. For example, Sam is a trigger to me because he reminds me of a friend that betrayed me, you know. So that will help you even when you're dealing with that conversation, when you're having that argument, or when you're having that conversation with someone, that you take away yourself from that conversation and get to learn, okay, I'm actually not having a problem with this person. I'm having more underlying issues that I need to sort them out to better my emotional intelligence. Guys, I hope you're understanding. Another thing that I want you guys to also know that emotional intelligence, the moment that, for example, you are in a heated conversation with someone, you're in a heated conversation with someone at work, with someone at school, with someone at home, get to know that you get to argue with the people that you care about. You rarely find yourself getting worked up for nothing. You know, for example, even when you're at home and you're having a conversation, for example, with your partner, with your sibling, with your co-worker, get to know that I'm actually heated because I find myself caring about this person. That's why you want so much to push your point. Like, every time that you're having a heated conversation with someone, this is something that I had to learn after it happened. I was like, okay, Kiza, you actually need to take a step back and get to learn that you don't have to force your point onto the next person, because one, you care about those people. Two, the reason why you want to push a point to them, you care about them, you have a relationship with them. So at the end of the day, the argument should not make the relationship astray or whatever. So that's why I'm saying you need to be more aware, even more alert. The moment you start to have heated conversation, use the phrase I need should be here. Guys, I need should be here. A moment for my lips. I need should be there. So you be like, I need to take a few seconds from this conversation. I need to stay away for a little bit. Another thing that I learned, another technique that I learned, and another technique that I'm using is have something to learn rather than to prove. That's what I've just said. Have something to learn rather than to prove. From that conversation, from that heated argument that you're having, ask yourself, what am I actually learning from this conversation? What is my point to take away from home? Don't be that person who be like, you just want to say, you know, sometimes, especially when we are in a heated argument, you don't take time to listen. You don't take time to listen to what the person is saying. You actually need to learn to listen to. You don't listen to respond. You listen to hear what the other person is saying. So what is, get to know and ask yourself, what is something that I can actually learn from this conversation rather than proving my point. For instance, I'll just say this. The other day I was having a small argument, not, I don't say an argument, a small disagreement with my brother because of whatever. And I was like, I wasn't so angry, but later, I wasn't angry actually at that moment, but it was just out of my character for me to yell and all that. And I was like, you know, I could have handled the situation better, because what is something that I could have learned from that conversation? It was just about dreams. So I was like, what is something that I could have learned from that situation? What is something that, rather than me proving my point, what if I could say, just I need a moment to get away from this? Or what if I could have said, what is actually the trigger of this conversation? Because at the end of the day, I still love him, he still loves me, we have a tight bond more than ever. So it wasn't going to be something that will make us like shift, or it was such a stupid disagreement. And later that's why I said, guys, the video that I'm doing is attached to my experiences. Every video that I'm doing is actually about my life, is actually about the experiences that I'm learning, is actually about lessons that I feel like I need to learn, and lessons that I feel like, you know what, my viewers can also learn from this. So that's another technique. Another technique that can help you with the emotional intelligence is focus on understanding, not just responding. You know, practice that is as simple as active listening. Like the other day, when I was having a squash with my brother, I was like, Hakiza, where is the active listening? You know, you're meant to be a psychologist. Like, what's happening? Where is the active listening? Because I was not listening to hear what he was saying. I was actually listening to respond. Thank God we are like this. So it was like, okay, well, it's okay. And you know, it was just we slept it off, and the next day we were like, let's go out. You know how it is when you are not actually, when you can't say sorry, but you know you are okay. So you're like, the next day you're like, okay, let's go out, let's do ABCD. And that's like a makeup session for you guys, because you're like, okay, you know what happened. So another thing that I learned is the technique, guys, of focus on understanding, not just responding. Get to understand why is A and B are reacting the way they are. What is actually making them angry? You know, when you practice active listening, you'll get to it will broaden your emotional intelligence, guys. Another technique that I got, that I'm actually actively using, is pause before reacting, especially in emotionals. Pause before reacting. You know, sometimes when you ask something, you don't have to be going there. What did you say? No, I did not say this. No, just take time. Pause before reacting. You can even actually take like 5 minutes. That's why I said use the word I need. For example, in that instance, when you feel like you're triggered, be like, I need like 5 minutes, then I get back to you. You know, that when someone will be like, the maturity, you know, who that in the bird, the maturity. Someone will be like, oh my gosh, yes. Take time before responding. Ask for feedback. You can also ask for feedback to increase your emotional intelligence. For instance, if you have family, or if you have close friends, they can actually give you feedback. You can be like, okay, but then how do you think I can improve myself as a friend? How do you think I can improve myself in my communication? They'll tell you, like, you know, sometimes when you're talking, you need to talk less. Sometimes when you're talking, you need to sit upright. Sometimes when you're talking, you need to smile more. Sometimes when you're talking, you actually need to be an active listener. So asking for feedback is always the best way to learn. And guys, some people don't like asking for feedback because they are scared of negative comments. But ask for feedback, because the moment you ask for feedback, the more comments that you get, that you will choose. Sometimes even when you ask for feedback, you don't have to take everything that you're being told. You filter out what you're being told. You say, like, maybe they said I need to sit upright more. Yes. Then you're like, okay, maybe in this situation, maybe they said you need to smile more, so you do that. Maybe someone said you do need to do this, you're like, no, this is not going with what I need to do, what is happening in my life. So it doesn't actually mean that when you ask for feedback you are a follower. No, it actually makes you be at a higher level in emotional intelligence, because you're actually working on it. Another thing that I learned, another technique that I actually learned is build with your emotional intelligence is develop empathy. Empathy is putting yourself in other people's shoes. Acknowledge their perspective. Especially when every time that emotional intelligence especially happens when you're in a heated argument. That what tells you, actually, I'm not good at my emotional intelligence, or it will tell you, okay, you are good. You are here in emotional intelligence. So practice empathy. Put yourself into other people's shoes. Practice, look at their perspective. Why are they reacting the way they are reacting? Why are they feeling the way they're feeling, rather than being defensive? That is actually something that I learned about myself, that I'm working on, guys. I told you, this year, by the time it comes to December, I'll be glowing. It should be a different person. So learn to put yourself in another person's shoe and acknowledge their perspective. Why are they feeling the way they are feeling? What makes them feel the way they feel? Especially if it's someone like you have a relationship, or your sibling, your parents, your whoever, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, or whoever that it is in your life, or your friend. Acknowledge their perspective. Get to know why are they feeling the way they are feeling, rather than responding too fast. Those are the points that I gathered. Those are the techniques that I'm using. Those are the techniques that I used and that I'm actually using this month. That I'll be giving you guys a feedback on the emotional intelligence. If you guys want to reach me for counseling, you can always reach me on my email at hakizansengu@gmail.com. We can do one-on-one counseling. We can do group counseling. You can also comment down below on your experiences, on things that you have learned, on techniques that you have found useful on improving your emotional intelligence. And yes, guys, if you have enjoyed the video, if you have liked the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, loves.